Lamar Jackson isn't just the face of the Ravens, he's a walking highlight reel, a quarterback who's redefined what that position can look like in today's NFL. But over the weekend, he wasn't just making headlines for what he did on the field. No, Lamar was out here clapping back at a Ravens legend, and the internet, of course, went absolutely wild. This whole thing started with a comment, a little spark on a preseason broadcast, and just like that, it exploded into a full-blown debate. Could Lamar Jackson beat the legendary 2000 Ravens defense? Now, before we get into this, let's just say it. These types of conversations are what make football fun. Legends from the past, stars of the present, different eras, different rules, different mindsets. It's the ultimate what-if scenario. And leave it to Lamar to add fuel to the fire with the kind of confidence that only a two-time MVP can have. So here's the story. During the Ravens preseason game, yes, the same one where Baltimore handled the Cowboys with ease, Rod Woodson, a Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, and one of the architects of that dominant 2000 Ravens defense, made a comment that caught everybody's attention. He said that Lamar Jackson wouldn't be able to beat that historic 2000 Ravens squad. That's right. He flat out said it. Lamar against Ray Lewis, Rod Woodson, Tony Siragusa, and that ruthless smash mouth unit? No chance, according to Woodson. Now, if you know Lamar, you know he's not going to let something like that slide. He didn't go on a full-blown rant, but he did what Lamar does. He kept it short, clever, and sharp. He responded to a tweet, quoting Woodson's comments with a line that said everything and nothing at once. We're all two different eras, but it sounds good though. Boom! That's all it took. One little line, and just like that, the NFL world had another great debate on its hands. But of course, it didn't stop there. More fans jumped in. More tweets started flying, and Lamar was right there in the middle of it, responding, reacting, and standing firm in his belief that not only could he beat that 2000 Ravens defense, he'd take Rod Woodson one-on-one and win. Confident? Absolutely. Cocky? Maybe. But this is the same Lamar Jackson who's carved up NFL defenses since the moment he took over as Baltimore's starter. This is a quarterback who's not just about speed. He's about vision, instincts, quick decision-making, and that unteachable it factor. Now, let's unpack what really happened here. Woodson's point wasn't personal. He's a Raven for life. He bleeds purple and black. He's proud of what that 2000 team accomplished, and rightfully so. That defense wasn't just good, it was terrifying. They allowed just over 10 points per game the entire season. Only 970 rushing yards all year. They had 49 takeaways, 4 shutouts. They were dominant in every sense of the word. Ray Lewis was in his absolute prime, flying sideline to sideline like a missile. Rod Woodson was the veteran genius in the secondary. Sam Adams and Tony Siragusa clogged the trenches. Peter Bower brought the pressure off the edge. And don't forget, they carried a team to a Super Bowl with Trent Dilfer at quarterback. That tells you everything you need to know. So when Woodson says Lamar wouldn't beat them, he's not throwing shade. He's just backing his guys. But Lamar, he wasn't going to let the narrative go unchecked. He jumped in again when fans started asking deeper questions. What rules? Are we playing under? Are we talking about early 2000s where defensive backs could maul receivers at the line and quarterbacks got crushed on every hit? Or are we talking today's rules where the quarterback is protected, defensive holding is a 5-yard automatic first down, and offenses have all the advantages? One fan made that exact point, saying under today's rules, Lamar would carve up that defense. Lamar, again, wasn't backing down. He posted a gif for the Roadrunner speeding away with a meep meep, making it clear, you're not catching me, not even that 2000 defense. Another fan chimed in, saying Woodson meant you couldn't run on that team. And Lamar dropped another. Jim, he reminded everyone, he played for the Ravens. He's not trying to diss the squad. But if you put Rod Woodson on the Raiders, the team he played for in his late 30s, and match him up against prime Lamar in the open field, Lamar was basically saying, good luck with that. And again, he's not wrong. Rod Woodson was a legend, no question. One of the greatest defensive backs to ever play the game. But he was 37, 38 years old by the time he was on the Raiders. Lamar Jackson right now is 28 and still in his athletic prime. In a one-on-one scenario, in open space, you tell me who's winning that. Now, Woodson might have something to say about all this. He hasn't responded yet, at least. Not publicly. But this whole debate brings up a bigger question. Who wins in a matchup between Lamar Jackson and that 2000 Ravens defense? Not in a one-on-one situation, but in a real game situation. Can you imagine that? Prime Lamar. Maybe the 2019 version or the 2024 version with this new look Ravens offense. Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry in the backfield. A strong offensive line going up against that all-time unit, 4 quarters. Playoff intensity. It's a football fan's dream, but it's also a reminder of how different the game has become. Back in 2000, the rules were different. The speed was different. The offenses were more limited. It was a more physical, gritty, defense-first league. Today's NFL is built around speed, space, mismatches. So if you drop 2000's Ravens defense into today's NFL, do they adjust? Do they dominate the same way? Lamar certainly doesn't think so. He kept responding to fans, never backing down, never wavering. He even told one fan that everyone's turning it into a 1 versus 11 debate. But nobody's asking the real question. What would Rod do in the open field with me? And according to Lamar, he knows the answer. He wins that matchup every time. That's the mindset that's made Lamar one of the most dangerous players in the league. It's not just about the highlights. It's not just about the stats. It's that belief, that edge, that chip on his shoulder. That same chip he had when he was drafted last in the first round, when teams questioned if he should switch positions, when people said he couldn't throw. He's been proving people wrong his entire career. Now, to be fair, there's a case to be made on the other side too. If we're talking team defense, if the Ravens offense starts at their own 20-yard line and has to drive the field against that 2000 Ravens defense, I don't know. It's not a given. That defense was just so incredibly tough. Ray Lewis was everywhere. They had depth at every level. Their communication, their physicality, it was unmatched. But if we're talking about Lamar doing what he does best, making something out of nothing, escaping pressure, turning broken plays into magic, it's hard to bet against him no matter who he's up against. This debate doesn't have a right answer. That's the beauty of it. It's hypothetical. It's generational. It's emotional. Fans who lived through that 2000 run will never forget how dominant that defense was. Fans who've watched Lamar grow into a superstar have seen things we've never seen before from a quarterback. And when those two worlds collide, you get fireworks. Now it's worth mentioning, Lamar wasn't just talking to talk. This all happened after the Ravens' preseason win, a game he didn't even play in, by the way. He was watching like the rest of us, enjoying his day off. But when he saw his name getting tossed around on the broadcast, he made sure to set the record straight. And that's what makes Lamar special. He's not afraid to engage. He's not afraid to challenge the past. He respects it. He said that many times, but he also knows who he is. And he's going to remind you every chance he gets. The Ravens are in a new era now. The defense is still strong, but it's the offense that drives the conversation. With Lamar under center, anything feels possible. And if you ask him, not even the greatest defense in Ravens history could stop him. While Lamar was busy setting the internet on fire with his bold claims and vintage swagger, the Ravens front office was out there making quiet moves. Moves that didn't go unnoticed by those who are paying attention. And one of those moves had people raising eyebrows and wondering what the strategy is behind it. Because just when you thought the roster was locked in, Baltimore brought in a very familiar name for a workout. Kyle Fuller. Yes, that Kyle Fuller. The Baltimore native, former Pro Bowler. And yes, a guy who already spent time in purple and black not too long ago. So when his name popped back up on the transaction wire, a lot of fans were caught off guard. The question everyone's asking is simple. Why? Let's rewind a bit. Kyle Fuller signed with the Ravens back in 2022. That was supposed to be a homecoming, a chance to see a veteran corner with a resume and pedigree contribute to a deep, talented secondary. But it didn't last long. He tore his ACL in the very first game of the season and never saw the field again. Just like that, his comeback story was cut short. Now here we are in the middle of the 2025 preseason, and the Ravens are bringing him in for a look. Not a signing yet, just a workout. But it's enough to start the conversation. And I get it. At first glance, it seems like a strange move. Fuller hasn't played meaningful football in nearly 3 full seasons. He missed almost all of 2022. all of 2023 and wasn't on a roster in 2024. He's 33 years old now, coming off a major injury and at a position where the Ravens already have depth, or at least they thought they did. So again, why bring him in? Well, sometimes in the NFL, things aren't always about what a guy is physically capable of doing on day one. Sometimes it's about familiarity, locker room presence, insurance. And let's not overlook this. Practice squad flexibility, because if Fuller is willing to come in and accept a depth role, maybe even a mentorship role, then it changes the lens through which you view this move. He's not coming in to take a starting spot. Let's be clear on that. But could he be a stable veteran presence in the room? Someone who knows the building, knows the culture, and can step in during a crunch if injuries pile up. Absolutely. You look at the current roster, and yes, there's young talent there. Are guys fighting for those final cornerback spots, but many of them are unproven. And with injuries always lurking in the background, especially in Baltimore, you can't blame the front office for at least exploring some added insurance. There's also this under-the-radar storyline that may or may not be connected. Jair Alexander. Now look, nobody's saying there's panic about his knee, but fans are paying attention. He's been a little banged up. The Ravens have been vague about the details. And anytime the injury report starts getting murky, people start asking questions. So when Kyle Fuller's name appears for a workout, it's natural for some folks to put 2 and 2 together. That said, there's no indication this has anything to do with Alexander directly. From everything we've heard, the Ravens are being cautious, taking their time, letting guys get fully right. It might just be due diligence, checking in on someone they already know. Seeing what kind of shape he's in. Maybe it turns into something, maybe it doesn't, but it's definitely interesting. And if we're talking strictly football, Kyle Fuller at his peak was a problem. This guy made plays, a 2-time pro, bowler, first team All-Pro, 19 interceptions, over 400 tackles. He was sticky in man coverage, physical at the line, and smart enough to diagnose routes before the ball was even in the air. The problem is, his peak was a while ago. And coming off that knee injury, after this much time away from live snaps, it's fair to wonder how much juice is left in the tank. Still, what makes this even more fascinating is the context of the rest of the Ravens roster. Because when you start looking at the bottom of that depth chart, the guys fighting for practice squad spots, or final 53, it gets real crowded real fast. You've got young names like Cal Martin, who's shown some flashes. You've got veterans trying to hang on. You've got contributors on special teams. It's not like there's a wide open lane for Kyle Fuller to just walk back in and claim a role. And that's where this gets tricky. Because if this were purely a best player available decision, you might look elsewhere. There are still other veteran corners on the market. Some younger, some healthier, some more recently active. Names like Stephon Gilmore, Rasul Douglas, Kendall Fuller, Kyle's own brother. Even Asante Samuel Jr. is still out there. But again, those guys probably want roles. They want reps. They want opportunity. Kyle Fuller might just want a shot, a last shot. And maybe the Ravens are willing to give it to him on their terms. And don't underestimate the value of culture here. The Ravens value relationships. They value guys who know how to carry themselves. Fuller's time in Baltimore might have been short, but if he left a good impression on the coaches, the locker room, the training staff, sometimes that's enough to earn another chance. This is also the time of year where rosters are fluid. Injuries pop up, performance fluctuates, guys rise and fall fast, and coaches are watching every snap, every rep, trying to figure out who they can trust when it really counts. So maybe Fuller doesn't sign today, maybe he doesn't sign at all. But his name being on that workout list tells us one thing. The Ravens are still turning over every stone, looking for that extra bit of depth that could make a difference later in the year. And speaking of difference makers, let's talk about the guy nobody saw coming this preseason, Mike Green. Because while the headlines were all about Lamar and the Rod Woodson drama, Mike Green was out there making a serious case for a roster spot. He didn't have a massive box score day, but the tape? Man, the tape tells the story. This dude was disruptive, consistently in the backfield, collapsing pockets, forcing offensive linemen to react. He might not be a household name yet, but he's making it really hard for the coaching staff to ignore him. And it wasn't just Green. The entire Ravens front seven looked dialed in against Dallas. Teddy Buchanan, Sweezy Connor, Malik Ham with the sack. You could see the energy, the hunger. These aren't just preseason reps for them. These are job interviews, and they showed up. On the offensive side, there were a few guys who stood out. 2. Rasheen Ali got more work. Looked solid, had some good burst. Justice Hill and Gus Edwards weren't out there. So this was a chance for the young backs to get a spotlight. And with Harbaugh saying they plan to keep 4 running backs on the final roster, that battle just got even more intense, especially with Keaton Mitchell nursing a hamstring. And let's be honest, no one wants to see another J.K. Dobbins situation repeat itself. Not in the preseason, not at FedEx Field, so it wouldn't be a surprise if they keep Mitchell on ice until week 1. Also, a quick shout out to Tyler Loop. The man was lights out. 5 field goals, 2 of them from 50 plus, 1 miss, sure. But the confidence, the accuracy, the mechanics, it all looked clean. That kicking competition is over, and Loop walked away with the job. Deservedly so. The offensive line also deserves some love. Andrew Voorhees and Daniel Failele were rock solid. No sacks, no pressures, no hits allowed. They held their ground, and you could see their development from week 1 to week 2. It's not just about the physical tools. It's about trust, technique, and communication. And they showed all of that. Now, not everyone had a great day. David Ojabo still isn't popping the way you'd hope. He's had a slow start to camp and didn't really flash against the Cowboys. Trenton Simpson was quiet too. And Bo Braid? Starting to look like he might be on the outside looking in. He's got work to do if he wants to lock in a spot. But overall, this was one of those games that tells you something about your depth. The Ravens controlled it from start to finish. Outgained Dallas by over 200 yards. Dominated time of possession. Converted on third downs. Limited mistakes. That's what you want to see in the preseason. Not just who makes the highlights, but who understands how to win the small battles. And this team did that. So as the regular season gets closer, the picture is starting to take shape. The starters are mostly set. The stars are ready. But the real drama is down at the bottom of the roster. Who gets that last corner spot? Who's the 4th running back? Can Mike Green force his way onto the 53? Does Kyle Fuller even get a deal? We're about to find out. 1 more week of preseason, a few more practices, a couple more press conferences, and then it's on. The regular season, real football, real stakes. And based on what we've seen so far, this Ravens team looks ready. But don't blink, because in Baltimore, the news never stops. One moment, it's Lamar and Rod Woodson trading words across generations. The next, it's Kyle Fuller walking back into the building after years away. And in between, it's a roster full of young talent trying to make dreams come true. Coming up next, we're going to break down even more takeaways from that week 2 win. Position battles, snap counts, who's rising, who's falling, and what it all means for the final 53. Stay locked in. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. The football world is buzzing with speculation and whispers after news surfaced that Sean McVey, the tactical mastermind who revolutionized the Los Angeles Rams offense, has reportedly agreed to terms with the Baltimore Ravens, sparking an immediate frenzy among analysts, fans, and rival franchises alike. While official confirmations remain scarce, sources close to the organization suggest that McVey, widely hailed as one of the brightest coaching minds in the NFL, is set to relocate to Charm City in what could be one of the most transformative coaching moves in recent memory. For years, McVey has been credited with reshaping the Rams into perennial contenders, blending innovative play calling with a knack for maximizing player potential. And the idea of him bringing that same genius to the Ravens has ignited a whirlwind of speculation about how he might adapt his offensive philosophy to a roster known for its physicality and defensive identity. Rumors are swirling that the front office is already envisioning a seismic shift in the team's approach, potentially redefining the balance between run and pass in a franchise long anchored by its hard-hitting, aggressive style. Fans in Baltimore are reportedly on the edge of their seats, eagerly anticipating what could be a dramatic makeover in team culture and strategy, as insiders hint that McVey's arrival may coincide with a flurry of roster adjustments designed to align with his high-octane offensive schemes. Discussions about potential free agent signings and trade targets have already permeated social media, with pundits and bloggers debating which personnel moves might accompany the arrival of a coach whose reputation for innovation precedes him. In short, the mere rumor of McVey flying into Charm City has created a perfect storm of excitement and uncertainty, leaving the NFL landscape teetering on the edge of a significant transformation, one that could reshape rivalries, draft strategies, and the broader narrative of the upcoming seasons. Reports suggest that the Ravens front office is moving with an unusual sense of urgency, as if the very walls of the organization are vibrating with anticipation at the prospect of Sean McVey taking the helm. Sources whisper that discussions have been intense behind closed doors, with ownership and top executives exploring not only the tactical implications, but also the cultural impact of bringing in a coach whose charisma and strategic mind have redefined what it means to lead a team in modern football. The conversation reportedly extends beyond the X's and O's, delving into the philosophies McVey might instill in a roster accustomed to a certain brand of toughness and defensive dominance. Some insiders hint at internal debates over which players fit McVey's vision, suggesting that the next few weeks could involve more than just a coaching change, but a significant reevaluation of personnel. Rumors have already begun to surface regarding the potential retooling of the offensive line, adjustments in the receiving corps, and even how the quarterback position might be approached differently under McVey's guidance, fueling speculation that the Ravens could become one of the most dynamic, unpredictable teams in the league. Social media chatter amplifies every nugget of insider information, from alleged private dinners between McVey and team executives to cryptic messages on players' platforms hinting at a new era. Bloggers, podcasters, and armchair analysts have begun projecting what offensive schemes could look like, debating how McVey's signature fast-paced, high-scoring system might integrate with Lamar Jackson's unique skill set. Even rival teams are reportedly studying potential changes, trying to anticipate how the Ravens might transform overnight under a coach whose history of revitalizing franchises precedes him, leaving the entire league on edge as whispers turn into an uncontainable buzz. While no official statement has yet confirmed Sean McVey's move to the Ravens, the rumor mill has exploded with endless speculation, drawing attention not only to Baltimore, but to the broader NFL ecosystem. Analysts argue that the implications of such a high-profile coaching transition could ripple far beyond one team, affecting draft priorities, free agent strategies, and even the way other franchises approach innovation and offensive creativity. Conversations among insiders hint that McVey's potential arrival might spark a cascade of decisions, from offensive coordinator hires to scheme overhauls, suggesting a transformation that could redefine the Ravens' identity for years to come. Fans reportedly cannot contain their excitement, posting countless hypothetical scenarios where McVey's playbook merges with the unique athleticism and versatility already present in the roster, igniting hopes of a championship-caliber resurgence. Speculative reports also suggest that this move could attract top-tier coaching talent and ambitious coordinators eager to work under one of the league's most renowned minds, potentially creating a coaching tree effect that extends well beyond Baltimore. Betting markets have even begun adjusting as odds makers weigh the potential impact of McVey's strategic genius against the existing strengths and weaknesses of the Ravens, underscoring how seriously this rumor is being taken. The persistent chatter emphasizes a larger narrative about how high-profile coaching decisions can shift the balance of power in the NFL, elevating the Ravens from perennial contenders to potential dynasty architects. Every media outlet seems to have its own inside scoop, further fueling the frenzy as fans eagerly track every development, dissect every leak, and imagine the exhilarating possibilities of a McVey-led Charm City offense that could become one of the most talked about storylines in football history. Insiders hint that Sean McVay's rumored move to Baltimore could reshape not only the Ravens' offensive strategy, but also the broader dynamics of the AFC North, introducing a new level of unpredictability that opponents may struggle to anticipate. The whispers suggest that McVay's analytical approach to game planning, which combines advanced statistical modeling with unconventional formations, could inject a revolutionary element into a division historically dominated by strong defenses and methodical play calling. Discussions reportedly revolve around how McVey might adjust the run-pass balance, optimize Lamar Jackson's dual threat capabilities, and integrate emerging talent into a system that prizes creativity, efficiency, and adaptability. Fans have taken to online forums, dissecting potential playbook changes, speculating about accelerated tempo, and debating whether the Ravens could become one of the league's most explosive offenses overnight. Rumor has it that internal meetings with coaching staff are already underway, with scouts and coordinators quietly evaluating the roster in light of McVay's strategic preferences, fueling conjecture about potential trades or draft moves. Meanwhile, rival teams are believed to be monitoring the situation closely, attempting to predict the tactical shifts McVay could introduce, recognizing that a single coaching change at this level can recalibrate competitive hierarchies. The sheer intensity of the speculation is causing an unusual level of media saturation, with analysts, podcasters, and insiders dissecting every potential scenario, from red zone efficiency to fourth quarter play calling. Even casual fans are reportedly caught up in the excitement, sharing theories, simulations, and mock lineups across social media, making the McVay to Ravens rumor one of the most pervasive storylines of the NFL offseason. In essence, the murmurings surrounding this move are transforming Baltimore into a hub of intrigue and anticipation, with every whispered detail magnified by the possibility of a game-changing era on the horizon. Amid the frenzy, sources close to the matter insist that Sean McVay's potential arrival in Charm City could redefine the culture of the Ravens, blending his signature energy, innovation, and leadership style with the team's existing toughness and resilience. Rumors suggest that McVay's influence might extend beyond the X's and O's, inspiring changes in training regimens, practice philosophies, and even player development programs, potentially elevating the entire organization to new heights. Fans have reportedly taken to imagining not only the immediate tactical shifts, but also the long-term implications, from drafting priorities to emerging stars in the system who could flourish under McVay's guidance. The speculation is so intense that even casual observers are weighing in, debating how a McVay-led offense could balance risk and creativity, maximize efficiency, and leverage the unique skills of the roster. Analysts are reportedly poring over historical precedents, comparing potential outcomes with McVay's previous tenure in Los Angeles, noting patterns in win percentages, player growth, and game management that could offer clues about what Baltimore might experience. Every media cycle seems consumed with parsing insider chatter, analyzing cryptic social media posts, and projecting potential what-if scenarios, amplifying the sense of anticipation and excitement surrounding this rumored coaching revolution. As the narrative unfolds, it's clear that even without official confirmation, the rumor alone is shaping perceptions, altering fan expectations, and generating conversations that bridge tactical analysis and passionate speculation. Charm City, it seems, is already buzzing with the idea of a McVay-led renaissance, as whispers evolve into fervent debates and the football world holds its collective breath for what could be one of the most significant coaching shifts in modern NFL history. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.